Say hi to everyone. Hi. You're so precious. Where's your sister, huh? Isn't he cute? Alright. No. Hello and welcome to Knitwhim Diaries. Today is January 12th, 2015. Happy New Year, everyone. And I am your host, Knitwhim. How have you guys been? I hope your New Year is kicked off to a great start. I hope that your holidays were good. I had pretty good holidays. I didn't get to take leave for Christmas, but my family did come and visit. And you know, I did almost zero knitting over the holiday season. I only had one knitting project going, and it was secret knitting, which I couldn't share with you guys. But I finished it now, and I'm hoping to zip them over to the post office today or tomorrow, so it should be safe to show you. My secret Christmas knitting, which I've only recently finished, was the There and Back Again socks by Dawn Hansen. And I used some blue and brown yarn to do this. So I don't know if you can see, there's like a color transition that goes on. So these are for a friend, and I really hope that she likes them and that they fit, and proof there are two of them. So that took an insane amount of time to do, even with these being the only socks I was knitting. And one of the reasons is because I'm on days and I can't knit at work, which I get so much more done when I'm on nights than I can knit at work. The other thing is that my Christmas present was I got kittens. For Christmas. I get 2 kittens, and they're about. And the first thing that they did, I thought I would sit down and try to knit with them, and less than a minute they had bitten the yarn completely off of the sock, pulled out the stitches, and completely like chewed up the cable needle, because I like to do my socks on a circular needle using magic loop. They managed to chew up the needle, so it's all got all these like rough like bumps on it, so it's a pain to knit magic loop with them now, and with my only pair of 00 circulars, and I'm gonna have to replace them because they're pretty much it's no fun. It's no fun. So that was a really bad thing. Then I ordered a big shipment of yarn from Eat Sleep Knits during the Black Friday, Grey Monday, Cyber Monday, whatever sale, and I got a sweater quantity to knit my husband a sweater. I got some stuff that I've already started casting on, and I'll show you in a bit. It was a lot, so that was cool. And I have some finished objects. So the first finished object, Amanda, the Amanda Bug podcast, did a Knit With Your Hand Spun along, and I tried so hard to participate. I had this brown hand spun that I tried to knit into like 3 different hats, and it was just not working. So for New Year's Eve, I cast on a different hand spun project with different yarn. And here it is. This yarn is half of the Bonus Laces Merino that I spun up, and I'm hoping to do mittens in the future with the other half. So it's a cow. This is the Dragonfly Fire Cow by Mia Valcarcel, maybe? And I'll just put this on. Hi. So I really like the pattern. It's one of those simple, classic, never goes out of style patterns, and you can kind of see. I knit mine super small because I don't like them to be all big and floofy. And I love this yarn, like a lot. A lot. So, success! I'm definitely hoping to do a lot more hand spun hand knit projects this year. So my next one will be the mittens to match, and then hopefully there'll be more later. My only other finished object is part of this year's Eat Sleep Knit Yarnathon. So if you don't know, Eat Sleep Knit is a yarn store. They exist physically, but they're mostly online store, and they have a Yarnathon where you try to buy a marathon's worth of yarn, like yardage wise, in a year. And there are, don't do that yet. There are benchmarks, and you get prizes for hitting different benchmarks. Like I hit 10K last year or whatever, and there's a club that you join when you hit that mark, and like you win stuff. Like I got a mug, and I got a $20 gift certificate, you know, basic things. And they have also Yarnathon teams, and you can compete to see which team won. So last year I was on the Fiber Monkeys, and I believe the Stitchosaurus won with the most yardage total. In addition to earning yardage by actually buying yarn from them, you can earn yardage towards your Yarnathon miles by participating in various knit-alongs and like fun games that they have. Like they have trivia that you can do. So this year there are 12 knit-alongs that you can do, and there are also a bunch of booster badges, which is this whole other thing. If you're interested, you can go look. And the teams have changed. So this year I am on Team Cowlets, which I thought was appropriate because the logo was a little owl wearing a cow. I just made one. And I've already finished part of a project for one of the cows. So one of the cows is selfless knitting, knitting something for somebody else. And you can add up, you have to do a certain number of yards in order to win the mileage for the Yarnathon. And so I'm going to do a bunch of projects and add them together. So the first one I finished is this little hat. Isn't it cute? This is for Amanda. She just had her baby Emily, the end of December. And this is the Berry Baby hat by Michelle Sabatier. I think it's supposed to be a berry. People knit them in like blue and purple, but Amanda likes pumpkins, so mine is a pumpkin instead. And my favorite part about this hat is the stem. You do like an I-cord stem, and then you tie it in this little knot just to like have a cute little accent. So this is like 64 yards. Don't worry, I'll keep going. I'll get the yardage I need. So this is the pattern was also meant for worsted weight, and I have fingering weight yarn that I'm knitting it with, so that was interesting, just doing the little math to get the gauge and the cast on right. And this was out of a Dream Color Smushy. The orange is the Humdrum colorway, and I have no idea what the green colorway was called, but it's gorgeous. So those are all my works in progress, finished objects. Moving on to works in progress. So going along with the same cow, I'm knitting more things for the baby. And the one I'm working right now is a crochet dragon pattern by Stacy Trock. And I really like her patterns. Crochet in general, patterns aren't as professionally written as knitting patterns. And they can be harder to follow, I find, just because they're not as standardized. But her patterns are really good, and I really like them. Definitely, for real. So I'm doing her dragon pattern, which is sort of like a choose your own adventure, where you have the base dragon body, but then you have like different tails or different scales and stuff that you can choose to add. I haven't gotten very far. I've just like, this is the top of the head. Once again, I'm also doing it using the Dream Color fingering weight, so it's going to be pretty small. But I thought I had put this high enough where the kittens couldn't get to it, but they did. They chewed through the yarn, and then they pulled out my stitches. I don't know if you can see that. So I have to find out if they only ripped out like a couple of stitches or if they ripped out a whole row. I'm not sure yet. So, but the pattern says not to break the yarn, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be fine because it's crochet. And I think I'm going to go ahead and do all of the side pieces, because the way the pattern is written, like you do part of the head and it says stop, go make some side pieces, and then come back to the body. And I think I'm just going to skip ahead and do all of the pieces for the body first, and then go back to the head and sew them on as I go. So I think that's going to just work out better for me, because all this scrolling back and forth is like really starting to get on my nerves. So it's going to be a little dragon in orange, and then he's going to have horns and scales down the back, and the matching green. So he's going to be a pumpkin dragon because I can't help myself. So I have a lace working project that I casted on, but I don't have it to show you. I cast on Zinfandel, and I cast it on in Lorna's laces, lace weight. It's a dark purple, and the pattern is like this 1,000 yard half circle shaped shawl, and I've only done like 3 rows, and you cast on like 3 stitches, so it's like this big right now. So it's not much to look at, but I anticipate it being a long-term like pattern that I just work on a little bit. One of the booster badges for the Eat and Sleep Knit Yarnathon this year is one for having a project that you've been working on for 9 months. So I could totally see this project being that project, especially since it's supposed to be a birthday present for my grandmother in October. So I've got a bunch of time for that one. And then the last work in progress that I have is the Pembroke hat. So there's the Eat Sleep Knit cowl for this. I feel like I'm gonna start getting obnoxious if I keep bringing that up. But there is, I hope to also get the All the Single Ladies badge with it for doing a project with a single skein of yarn. But this is a hat that I'm knitting for my husband. The yarn I'm knitting it out of is Malabrigo Rios, which Malabrigo Rios. If you have any excuse to knit with Malabrigo Rios, please do it. I picked it up during the Black Friday sale, and I love this pattern so much. It's a cable-y hat, so it's and you're not gonna be able to see that very well. Cable-y goodness. And I'm doing this on a very small circular, so like I can't really stretch it out without pulling off the needles. But you can kind of see cable-y goodness. This is the Pembroke hat by Kirsten Kapoor, and I can't read today. And it's a free pattern, which just blows my mind because although it's hard to see this brown cabling in this lighting, the cables are pretty epic. It's a pretty nice hat, and the pattern is well written. The charts are amazing. That there are 3 different sizes, and there are charts for all 3 sizes of the hat, which is really cool. So blows me away that it's a free pattern. I would have paid money for it. There are some things that I didn't like about the pattern, but they're pretty small. The first one is that the gauge for the pattern is over the cable stitch. Normally patterns, the gauge is over stockinette stitch, which is what I did. I just looked at the number for the gauge, I did my stockinette stitch swatch, I checked gauge, I had gauge, I cast on the hat, I did like 4 rows before I realized that the hat was like 2 times bigger than it should be. And I mean, doing a swatch in the cable stitch is like super inconvenient, especially for a cable stitch like this, where it's this really huge cable. Like, I don't know if you can see that, but it's just this giant triangle, or diamond or whatever. That's a really big pattern to do a gauge over. So, wasn't a huge fan of that. I had to rip out and start over again with smaller needles. And then the only other thing, a lot of projects on Ravelry complain that the hat is really pointy because of the way the decreases work. I don't know if that was the designer's intent or not, but I don't want the hat to be pointy either, so I'll probably just do my own decreases at the end to like make it less pointy. But other than that, I mean, it's still a really cool pattern, and I can't wait to finish it. I thought I was going to finish it last night because the cable chart is 28 rows, and I finished the 28 rows. I was like, yes, I can start the decreases. And I did 3 rows of decreases before I realized that I had made a very serious mistake, because 28 rows is not all you knit before the decreases. You do the 28 row chart, and then you do the first 19 rows again before doing the decreases. So I'm way less close to the end than I thought I was. So sad. So there's that. So all that to say, I'm back on the knitting game. Hopefully I will be doing a lot more knitting this beginning of the year than I did at the end of last year, because holy crap. Oh, I forgot my other work in progress. I'm still working on the Millie Makes Something Pretty blanket, aka A Garden in Time. Since we spoke last, I did a grand total of 7 squares. 7. That means I only did a week's worth of squares and then I stopped. Because there was this great period of time where I was doing a square a day, and obviously I have not been doing a square a day since our last video, podcast, blog thing. So I've done 7. That brings my total square counts up from 50 something was last time I did it. So now we have 64 squares total out of the 209 I intend to make. The only good news on this front is that I will be switching to nights again in February, doing a night shift again, which sucks. And I'm still trying to get out of it, but I mean, I'm not going to be able to get out of it. So I'll have lots of free time to do granny squares at work in February. It's the only silver lining. So I'm still working on that. I'm running out of yarn. I'm going to have to go back to the store and get more soon. But it's just Hobby Lobby cotton, so I love this cotton. I don't think they'll ever run out of stock, and I'm not worried about color dye lots or anything for it, so it's good. Spinning, works in progress. I haven't really touched my supported spindles recently. It's been one of those things where I've been like knitting instead of spinning. It's hard to do both. And I've also been reading a lot of books, which I'll talk about in the non-knitting portion of this vlog. And also kittens. I love my kittens, but they are a handful, and even knitting is pretty hard, and I'm not sure how spinning on the supported spindle is going to work with them right now because they want to eat everything. And they'll chew that wood in like a heartbeat. I had a wooden ear spoon, 30 seconds. It was chewed to pieces, they're like all splintered and gross, and I don't even know what I'll do with that. So the only spinning I've been touching has been on my wheel. I've been spinning Antarctica braid from 2 by Hand. I had bought it and another braid, which I haven't even started spinning, for a sow with the completely twisted and arbitrary. That thing, which I'll link to, completely twisted and arbitrary, that one, Group on Ravelry does a quarterly spin along with a highlighted dyer, and 2 by Hand was the highlighted dyer for November through December, and I did not finish in time. This is 1 bobbin of singles for the Antarctica colorway. This is about half of the fiber, and I'm almost done with the second half spinning. Hopefully this weekend I will finish it and ply it and then do the plying. And I plan on doing just chain ply and having 2 skeins of chain ply. And then I will probably start on the second braid, which was the New Zealand colorway, which is like all browns and whites. So that's been that spinning. So that's all. So non-spinning and knitting related stuff. So life has been great. I've been doing a lot of reading since I can't knit at work. I've been reading at work with mixed success. People have yelled at me, but my job is to sit there and do nothing. So I'm sorry if I look like I'm not doing anything if I'm reading a novel, but I'm really not doing anything. So I've been reading a lot. I read, my coworkers are super awesome, and they lend me their books because all of my books are on Kindle, and I can't take my Kindle into work because it's technology. You can't bring any computer type thing into the building that I work in. And you know, I'm cheap. I don't really want to buy paperback books, and I have nowhere to put them right now. Like, my husband got bookshelves for Christmas, and they're already mostly spoken for. So I couldn't even put my books on his bookshelves that he just got. So one of my coworkers sent me a book called Kushiel's Dart, which was amazing. It's fantasy mixed with, you know, a lot of the like political kings and queens type spying, espionage type fantasy. It's very good. The main premise of the book, the main character is a prostitute, but like the brothel that she was born in, like they're religious brothels, so they do it to worship their goddess. It's weird. And honestly, it's my coworker tried to sell it as like, you know, fantasy, and it's very well written, and it's definitely fantasy, but it's also kind of erotic, like fantasy at work. Kind of makes me happy because it's just like, you know, sticking it to the Navy. Anyway, I'm sorry, that's me being bad. So I'm hoping that he will bring the second book in that series to work on Wednesday because I really want to read it. Meanwhile, another coworker has been lending me a more innocent series. It's the Circle Magic series by Tamora Pierce. Already read the first quartet, and now I'm reading the second quartet. So this is book 3. I started reading it last night, and I'm about halfway through. The circle opens, and this is Cold Fire. So this is children's fantasy, and I really love it. I really love it. My sister and I usually have similar taste in books, and I told her I was reading a novel by Tamora Pierce, and she was like, "Oh, I hate her. She's the worst writer ever." I'm like, "But I like her. I love these books are awesome." If you're the kind of person who likes reading fantasy novels about children and you don't always have to read adult books, I like it. It's really good. And they're very small. This is actually much thicker than the first 4 books were very small. You could read them in a day, easily. These are a little bit bigger, but they're still pretty small. But they're really great. And the whole thing is about, you know, this world in which magic is pretty common, and like kids are usually tested for magic when they're children, and if they have it, they get sent to magic school. And then the main characters in the series, they were tested for magic and were told they didn't have any, but they really do. And so they have this like different kind of magic that's hard to test for and that most people don't know how to teach. So they're magical in a world where being magic isn't that special, but they're still special anyway because they have special magic. So it's really cool. And one of the things I really like about it, the first series, like they're the students and they're learning, and now the second set of 4, they're still kids, they're like 14, but they're now having to teach other kids who have magic. So I'm really enjoying it. Some things, so New Year's resolutions. Obviously my knitting New Year's resolution is to be more active socially in the knitting community, whether that means trying to vlog more regularly, although I'm not promising anything, posting more on Ravelry, joining more groups, being more chatty. I know last year I participated in a lot of knit-alongs, but I didn't really chat in the knit-along threads. I just posted, this is what I'm doing, and then here's my finished object, and I didn't do any of the chatty stuff in between. So I'm going to try to do more of that, especially with Eat Sleep Knits. Knit-alongs this year are a lot more appealing to me than last year, so I will be participating in a lot more of them, and I'm trying to be super chatty there. And I'm also trying to spin more, knit with my hand spun, and post more in the spinning and knitting with hand spun groups that I'm a member of, but I never post in. So those are some knitting and spinning New Year's resolutions. I'm hoping, against hope, to only do one Eat Sleep Knit order this year on my birthday, but we'll see what happens. I also want to get like a shit ton of Knit Picks palette to do the favorite things cow. That's a lot of palette. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Non-knitting New Year's resolutions. Last year my New Year's resolution was to join a gym, which I did, and I went regularly for about 4 months. But here's the thing. In order to go to the gym, you have to get up and get dressed in special gym clothes. Then you have to drive to the gym. Then you have to work out. And then you have to drive home, shower, and change. Now, I don't know if you know this about me, but I hate driving. And if I go to the gym and I work out and then I have to drive home, like I'm tired and I'm too tired to drive, like I don't want to drive. And so I spend the entire time working out at the gym dreading having to drive home, and so I don't work out as much as I should so that I won't be as tired so that I can drive home. Do you get what I'm saying? So it's a huge thing, and it just comes to the point where I'm not really getting anything out of going to the gym. So this year I'm going to cancel my gym membership and I bought a yoga DVD. Don't laugh at me. This could work. I bought a yoga DVD. I love the Namaste Yoga. I think I first saw them, like, they're on some kind of cable TV channel, like Fit TV or something. I really like them because it's easy to follow what they're doing, but also it's very pretty. Like, it's filmed, like, I think in HD, and it's just the ladies doing the yoga are gorgeous, and they're doing it in all these gorgeous, like, locations. Like, sometimes they'll be on the beach or they'll be in this forest, and it's pretty to watch and motivating for me. A lot of reviews on Amazon claim that this particular yoga series is kind of bad. They say that it's not very good and it's not really professional, like real yoga or whatever, and they like to complain that it's just a DVD of pretty ladies stretching and that it's not real yoga. I don't know. All I know is that I liked this and this is what I'm doing. So I feel like the level of dedication to go to the gym is actually higher than the level of dedication to do yoga at my house. And I'm gonna pair that with, like, you know, sit-ups and push-ups and other stuff. Because all I really need is to pass the daily fitness test, and it's not that hard. I mean, I hate working out. Let's just go with that. So that's one. My husband and I have this other joint resolution where we're going to eat at home more and cook our own meals more, which is, you know, we've been ordering out and eating out a lot last year, like at least twice a week, if not more. And the goal is to cook most of our meals and, like, not eat out at all, and then we could go out to, like, a really nice restaurant every month. So we're trying that, and we're also doing more of a shop the day of for your food. So we'll go to Whole Foods and get, like, the grass-fed beef, like, the day we plan on cooking it. And that makes it, like, a little bit more special than just, you know, pulling something out of the freezer and de-thawing it. It feels fancier, and, like, we're putting more, it takes more time to prepare the meal that way, but it's like, instead of making the meal like a chore, like, I'm hungry, but I don't really want to cook, but I have to cook in order to eat kind of thing, try to make it so that the cooking is part of what we enjoy doing. And that's working out. And honestly, like, even if you're buying like grass-fed beef and cooking it, it still ends up being cheaper than going to a restaurant most of the time, because you're not paying like $10 for an appetizer, and you're not paying, you know, $7 for that mixed drink that my husband likes to drink, Long Island iced teas. You know, so it still ends up being about the same price or cheaper, and we're not always eating the grass-fed beef. Like, we're definitely doing a lot more like goulash and chili and a lot of more crock-pot stuff, because it's still kind of cold here. Actually, it just got cold here. Last week it was 70 degrees, and now it's like 40 or lower. Like, a couple times this week it's been below in the single digits, which has been, like, weird. Weird. So so that's that. Oh, and I just remembered. So I want to get back into dyeing and doing more dyeing and stuff. So I bought a electric burner. It came in the mail on Saturday, so I still haven't opened it or tried it out yet. But so what's been going on is I've been dyeing in these crock pots, and they don't really get hot enough fast enough to do the dyeing properly. And then I bought one of those giant turkey boilers, because I was like, well, I'll use the turkey roaster to heat my dyes, but that was a bust. I mean, it's propane, and it was terrible. It was a bad idea. So now I'm gonna do the electric burner, which, why didn't I think of that before? So easy. So hopefully I'll be doing some more dyeing soon. For Christmas, Amanda got a drum carder, which I promptly stole because I'm a good friend, and I've been carding up some of my old hand-dyed fiber into bats. So here's a few samples. I've got some of these really nice yellow bats, and I've got some teal. I don't know if you can see that. Like, yummy. And then my red. So I've got a bunch of spinning to do, but if I finish the 2 of by hand stuff, I really want to spin this up and do a daybreak shawl with it. So, oh, and I forgot to bring it. For Christmas, Amanda got me a bunch of Angelina and Firestar to blend into some bats. And I think I'm going to be blending up a Valentine themed bat to give away to the group. And I'm going to be blending some of the Angelina and stuff into it. So it's going to be super shiny and wonderful and awesome. So look forward to that. Hopefully I'll remember to show that next time. That's all I have to say. Stop it. That's all I have to say for now. So I'm going to leave you here.